What's up, guys? This is the Vinyl Casket. Thank you if you're tuning in on Twitch, on the Twitch VODs, or on YouTube at the Vinyl Casket. Please subscribe, like, comment, get in the chat, follow on Instagram at Vinyl Casket and Vinyl Casket Comics. This is my third episode of Casket Reviews. This is going to be on the first half of season one of Masters of the Universe Relevation. I should probably change that. I'll change that when I put it on YouTube to season one, part one. Uh, it's going to be a 10 episode season. It is a Netflix original. It is 5 episodes and 5 episodes, parts one and two. So far, we've gotten part one. It is directed, story written, and everything by the legendary Kevin Smith. Um, Disclaimer: I am a huge Kevin Smith fan. Uh, Track record wise, I do like a major portion of his work and the things that he was created. Uh, do I like, you know, Cop Out and Jersey Girl? No. So not everything he does is a hit. Not everything he does have misses. Um, but I've always just enjoyed him as a creator, and the stuff that he does, I always think resonates with my tastes. With that said, with that disclaimer out of the way, the other disclaimer is that there's a lot of hate for certain things going on, touching around this for some reason. There's going to be no hate in this video. We're just going to talk about the facts of what's there, what's presented, what we got with the show. I go into almost everything with avoiding spoilers, without setting expectations too high. The only prelude I kind of got into this prior to this was that I read the Prelude comic book series of the same name, which sets groundwork in the past for these stories, which is also through Dark Horse Comics and is entitled Masters of the Universe Revelations. So we'll get right into talking about how the review is going to be laid out, and then we'll get right into it. It says Netflix original animation. I'll talk about the animation. I'll talk about the soundtrack. I'll talk about a lot of the references, then the voice acting. I'll talk a little bit about the characters that they used, the character choices that were made, and then I'll dive into the story, and then I'll give you my rating on the first half of the first season as a whole. Some of the notes that I have written down here. You get towards the end, like episode 4 or 5, and it starts to tie into that first issue that Kevin Smith wrote for Dark Horse. There's a lot. This show really makes it on the dark tones and the how forward it is with its subject matter, and I thought that was really good. Since I'll get into it later, but this is a show that a lot of children, including myself, I grew up on the reruns and the 2000 X series reboot, are now late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. That's the target audience, and that's the people that are going to buy this stuff up. And what I think they did a really good job of is they made it dark and mature. And it really hit on those notes. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that I wouldn't have expected from something under the Masters of the Universe umbrella. They really flush out a lot of characters, especially some characters that I feel like maybe didn't get enough spotlight. Some that didn't even get featured in the original Filmation cartoon at all. Things that were just figures that never made it into the show were featured here, even if it was for like a scene or two. The fact that they were featured was really cool. Yeah, and it takes the time frame of the Filmation cartoon, and basically runs, after, I'm not sure how deep into the timeline, but it's basically like, good amount of time is gone. Thank you for the follow. Super appreciate it. I don't know how this timeline really works, but this is definitely, He-Man's been around for a while. He's been fighting Skeletor for a while. This isn't like a new thing. Skeletor isn't new. He-Man isn't new. This is taking place after events of the original Filmation cartoon. Um, how after? I don't know. Did we see any Snake Men? No, we didn't see any Snake Men. So, are the Snake Men gone? Is it just Skeletor again? There were a lot of heroes that we didn't get to see. Um, yeah, I don't know, how far. Obviously, I don't know. They're counting. Is Shira like present in this time period? Does she exist? Is she doing her own thing? You know, did New Adventures of He-Man happen? I don't know, but I did enjoy how they basically make it aware that the stuff in the original cartoon has happened. Um, and I think character design wise, they did a really good job of mixing Filmation, toy, and um, 2000X reboot stylization together. All right, with that, we get right into the animation, and I thought that this overall everything felt super fluid animation wise. Um, Everything was well edited. Everything was kind of blended together and did well with the music selection and everything. The story and the voice acting and everything was matched perfectly with the animation. There was no real skips. There was no real hiccups. There wasn't anything that I thought was ugly or eye catching in a negative way. Um, the animation style, uh, I really liked what they did. I really like the style of animation. I really like how it homages Filmation while being also super modern and up to date. And it just it feels right. It feels like I'm watching original He-Man, but also watching it now. Yeah, everything's clean, crisp. It feels vibrant. Like at times, it feel like things feel so vibrant, like it's a fantasy world. It's supposed to feel like you're in a fantasy world. It gives you those that sensation. And then like I said, character designs were spot on, and they were animated perfectly. Nothing that I would really, no major animation gripes do I have against that or the character designs or how they were their movement or anything. I think they did a pretty good job. If I had to give it out of 10, I would say probably a 7.5, 8. Um, Obviously, there's always room for more detail and crazy animation. But I think this is the top of the line, standard, common, modern stuff. And I thought it was good, a really good job. They took something that's so classic and they could have done what 2000X was. At the time period, they ramped that stuff up to the moon. It was the character design wise, they made everything as brutal as they possibly could with the technology that they had, and they tried to make the animation like that. Animation here is in the middle ground, and I think it's way smoother than either. Soundtrack. Uh, I honestly no gripes. I think that the soundtrack of this season so far, or these 5 episodes, matches perfectly with the actions and you know the mood and tone of what's going on. It hits all the climaxes. It follows the tone. It follows the mood perfectly. It rides highs and lows and what you would expect from a He-Man, like Viking medieval castle kind of hype music. It fits that category. It fits that mood. And I forgot to do this. I always forget to do this. Boom. Said I wasn't gonna forget to do this. I forgot to do that. Boom. Um. Yeah. But obviously, there's the poster. You can see some of the character designs there, and like I said, vibrant. The colors are great, crisp. These character designs are really cool. And I thought they did a really good job with the soundtrack matching that animation style. Um, you know what? I said I would do references and then voice acting. I'm going to switch it. I'm going to just touch on voice acting real quick, and then I'll do the references. So, voice acting. I think the crew that they picked for voice acting was phenomenal. Uh, People that I wouldn't have even known, people that I wouldn't have even thought of. I have a whole list here of obviously Jason Mewes was Stinkor, a character that was not featured in the original Filmation cartoon. They brought him to life. Awesome. Chris Wood, you might know him as um, Mon-El on Supergirl. He was He-Man. Sarah Michelle Gellar was Tila. Um, Stephen Root was Cringer. Um, the guy from the Tick live action who plays what did he plays Arthur, the Tick sidekick. He plays Orko, or he voices Orko. You got guys from Game of Thrones in here. Multiple characters from Game of Thrones, right? Uh, yeah, multiple actors from Game of Thrones. Yeah. Multiple actors from Game of Thrones throw their voices on here. Mark Hamill is Skeletor. Justin Long was Roboto. I didn't even realize that. A lot of these I knew going like as I was watching, like I kind of could tell, or I saw like people tweeting it or talking about it. I did not realize that Justin Long was in this at all, and I should have expected it to, because in the recent years, Justin Long's in everything Kevin Smith, so that's awesome. Um, and then the one that surprised me the most was Henry Rollins was Triclops. And if you don't know who Henry Rollins is, he is the former lead vocalist and frontman of the punk band Anti Flag. No, Black Flag. Anti Flag is inspired by Black Flag. Black Flag. Um, Huge inspirational band, musician. What he's done with that music is incredible, and the fact that he was in this was insane. I didn't When I saw that I was like, what? Like, I do really think that voice acting wise, they had a really good crew that really personified these characters for how, at least how I've always envisioned them. Their voices matched. I thought they did a really good job. Um, and then we go back to references. Lots of references, and I'm not going to go through all of them because there's so many. So I'm just going to say that there was a lot of play sets. So obviously, He-Man is a show that's based on a toy line. So the Filmation cartoon was based on the toy line also, and in this, there's lots of vehicle sets, lots of play sets, like how you would buy like a play set, it'd be like a building, you could open it up and you could do all this stuff. A lot of these were shown in backgrounds, featured as locations, things that in the shows previously they might not have been mentioned or had any like real like importance. They were given kind of a role or a background role in this show. I thought that was cool. I thought how they depicted a lot of the vehicles was so accurate. I thought that was awesome. I thought they did a really good job of introducing that and depicting that, and the details there were phenomenal. Um, and then the other thing, like there was one playset that was featured as the tower in Pre-Eternia or Preternia. I thought that was a great homage, a great way to introduce that set as being an established place in the He-Man universe. I thought that was awesome. And then finally, the whole Pre-Eternia stuff is basically like Valhalla. And in this Valhalla, you have all these past heroes that have defended Grayskull and have wielded the Power Sword and all sorts of stuff like that, right? So you get all the concept characters that were used, you know, as early He-Man prototypes were used here. Wondar, which is the Wonder Bread version of He-Man. You had Vikor, which is the first one of the first drawings of He-Man where he was a Viking. You had Hero. Like, Hero is an early concept that was never used. I'm pretty sure they created his toy. And then you had the man himself. You had Grayskull. That was awesome. I thought that was really cool. To show him and Hero are featured, I'm pretty sure, in the comic book that Kevin Smith's writing that works as a prequel to the series, or a setup for the series. And I thought that was really cool that these characters were showed here. And there was a lot, all the homages, and you know, it, you get references to characters that don't even get speaking roles are thrown in there. And obviously, the next thing I'm going to talk about is characters. I'm going to say that there was one character that was so happy that he was shown, even though he didn't really have an acting, he didn't have any voice roles or speaking roles. They showed Fisto. They showed Fisto, and I thought that was so cool. That's a toy that I think is awesome, that I always wanted when I was growing up. And when they did the Motu Classics, I always wanted to get Fisto. They put him in the show in the early first episode. Thought that was really cool. Thought that reference was awesome. Am I disappointed in the character selection? Yes and no. I think that the characters that they put in the show were all done really well, and a good chunk of them were had some amazing character development that really boosted them for me personally. Would I like to have seen Ram Man and all these other guys, like all the other main, the main characters that you would think, like, I'll pull it up right now. Hopefully, like, obviously we got man at arms, but Stratos. Come on, give it to me. Give me that. Yeah, like we didn't get Buzz off. I think they might have showed Clamp Champ. Extend Art we didn't get. We saw Fisto. Uh, we saw King Randor, Man at Arms. We didn't see many faces. That kind of sucked. Mecha Neck. Uh, we got to see Moss Man. Got to see Orko. We didn't see Ram Man, which I thought they would have at least put Ram Man as, like, just there. Um, yeah, Rotar. I said Stratos, Snout Spout. The Cyclone. There was a lot of characters. Even, like, I would have expected to see some of, like, the regular soldier guys that always fought with Man at Arms there. Like Mecha Neck and um, Ram Man and Stratos. I thought they would have been at least shown. I did like the Clamp Champ and Fisto were there, but, like, I would have expected to see those other guys there, and we didn't. We didn't get to see them, um, which is both. Kind of sucks. Is okay. Whatever. Hopefully, in the next 5 episodes, the rest of season 1, we get to see some of these guys come out of the woodwork to help out. Um, with that being said, I'm gonna work my way up. You get to see, like, villain wise, we get Trapjaw, Merman, Stinkor, Triclops, like, all really cool villains. Scareglow. It was a major one. I really, really liked the way that Scareglow was voice acted and portrayed. I thought that was really cool. The small scene with Merman was really cool. Stinkor stuff was cool. Triclops, uh, taking over Snake Mountain and leading, like, a cult of, what's the word, of, like, techno organic, like, people. That was really sick. With Trapjaw, I would have thought that Trapjaw would have beat the crap out of Triclops and taken over, but I guess not. Um, Beastman, I'll explain in the story what happens with him. I thought his character design was awesome. I thought Beastman's character design was so cool. I like how it was a mixture between the two, like between, like, 2000X and, like, OG Filmation. I thought that was awesome. Um, obviously Prince Adam, Tila. Evil Lynn is like a main character in this, which is really cool to see. Moss Man was really cool in the first and last episode. Roboto was a really big character in this. Cringer and Orko were there. Orko gets some character development that was cool. Man at Arms gets a little redemption arc. Was it that necessary or that entertaining? Not really, but it was there. I was okay with it. And then we get a new character. Um, Her name's Andra. That's it. Just get Andra. No cool name. No nothing. She is Tila's engineer that she finds. We don't know where she finds her. We don't know where she pulls her from. As far as I know, she's a brand new character. She's pretty badass. She can fight. She's smart and she's good with technology. I think her teaming up with Tila was really cool, and we get to see that teamwork progress throughout the show. Thought that was interesting. Um, Obviously, I'll talk about Skeletor later. All right, so story. We're gonna get into the story. I'm gonna lay out the story. This is my, my review of the story, my basic overview of what happened throughout the 5 episodes. So there's 25-minute or so episodes. That's it. It's all we got. And there's gonna be 5 more. Season 1 isn't over, so obviously you can't really judge this as a full piece at the moment. You only can judge it as half, because after the second part comes out, the years down the line, they're going to be viewed as one whole, right? It's going to be one full 10 episode season. And that's what people later on are going to watch and react to. So if the season dramatically changes from where we are now, you can't just judge the first half as the first half. You're going to have to judge it all together as one whole construct. But with that said, it's a solid story. I enjoyed it. I like the start. I like the cliffhanger at the end. I think it's all pretty cool. I think there's a lot of drama and a lot of really dark undertones and stuff that I never expected to get out of a Masters of the Universe show. And the first thing I'll say is that this has been titled since the beginning as Masters of the Universe. No He-Man in the title. So I did have a feeling that this wasn't going to be a He-Man centered show. It's not. He-Man's in the show, but this is Masters of the Universe. He is not. It doesn't say Master of the Universe. It doesn't say it's Masters, and that's what his group of heroes that have always worked with him have been, the Masters of the Universe. It's never been just them. Like the toy line is called Masters of the Universe, like Motu Classics. Is every figure just He-Man? No, it's everyone. They are the Masters of the Universe. So with that being said, Kevin Smith doing that, I thought was interesting. Obviously, what do you want him to do? The same thing. He wasn't rebooting the series. He was adding on to it. It's a storyline. This is a storyline that he's adding into continuity. Not everything has to be what everyone else did. This is new. It's different. He took a chance. I think that it has potential to finish off on a really strong foot. Okay, so the first episode sets the tone and setting for where the show is taking place. We're on Eternia. We're after a big chunk of the original Filmation cartoon. They battled Skeletor a bunch, whatever. Tila is about to be named Man at Arms, and Man at Arms is about to, I guess, retire or whatever, and she's about to take over, and everyone's so happy, whatever, when Skeletor, finally, after years and years and years of trying, has broken into Castle Grayskull. He's gotten in. They did the whole trick or whatever. They snuck. They got their way in, and then Skeletor fights the sorceress and is about to claim his goal the entire time through the original show. All these attempts to get into Castle Grayskull have failed, and he's finally doing it. We're starting off this series strong on Skeletor kicking butt and finally going to get his goal after all these years, right? He-Man shows up, Masters of the Universe, heroes, they all show up, big fight, whatever. And Skeletor shows them that this orb that he's gonna break has all the magic and all the power of Grayskull and all the mystery, whatever, and he's gonna take it. And with that being said, this when he does it, it's going to explode and destroy the universe. And in order to save the universe, He-Man sacrifices himself basically and splits as he's trying to absorb this power, this energy. He splits the power sword, and when he splits the power sword into two separate swords, it reveals to everyone around him and Tila that he's been Prince Adam this entire time. And that really sets the tone for a lot of the rapid character changes that happen and set the challenges for the rest of the series. Um, Everyone's mad. You know, Prince Randor is like, "Oh, Keyman's gone. Like he'll always be missed." His wife, knowing that it's Adam, like just knowing, be like, "No, that our son's gone," and he's like, "What? What do you mean?" And then when he realizes that his wife knows and that um, Man at Arms knew, he banishes Man at Arms. Tila leaves the kingdom completely. You know, just got named, just got promoted, just took over the guard, and said, "No, I'm not doing this. You all lied to me my entire all these years. That it was Adam. My best friend lied to me. My father lied to me. All you people knew, and Cringer and Orko didn't tell it." He, which I don't know how. Like, it's the same thing with like, how do people not know that Bruce Wayne is Batman? How did you not know that Battlecat was Cringer? But that aside, uh, the story kind of skips into the second episode. It skips, and now we're like a couple years later. Uh, Fight with Stinkor, that was really cool. You get shown Tila and her partner, this engineer Andra. Awesome teamwork, whatever. Basically, Tila's been running around the world, exploring and working for money and tracking things down and doing whatever she wants. Just doing her thing, freelancing. Um, and eventually, you know, they were doing this thing, and then this old lady, offers them a job to go get this chalice that she really needs from Snake Mountain. So they do it, whatever. You get some cool flashback sequences. The series does do that a couple times where they give you flashback sequences of um, of small adventures that could have happened during the original series in modern animation with He-Man or Prince Adam and Tila. That was really cool. They really focused on developing Tila as a character, which I personally do not think is a bad thing at all. Um, why not spend time developing a character that we've known for years and giving them a little bit more of a backstory, and, a little bit more of a hardship they have to overcome, and learning and finding themselves as a character. I'm okay with that. And they do a really good job of putting her through the ringer. And the whole Snake Mountain thing was cool. Triclops, like I said, is leading this cult of techno organic stuff with Trapjaw, and the people are drinking from the cup, and it's turning them into like these cybernetic weird people. Um, they get the chalice, they bring it to the old lady. It's Evil Lynn. The chalice is the Havoc staff, or the head of the Havoc staff. Um, that was really cool, but they use the Havoc staff. You find out that Evil Lynn is working with the sorceress. She's now trying to help the sorceress, giving her magic through the Havoc staff so that she could survive a little bit longer. Because Eternia is falling apart. The magic is gone. When that orb blew up and He-Man left and the power sword is no longer together, the magic is fading from Eternia. Magical creatures are fading. They're dying. Like, magic is leaving Eternia completely. And it doesn't help. There's a techno organic cult running around trying to kill people that are after magic. So they learn that what they have to do is that they have to go to find the two halves of the swords that bring it together to try to bring magic back to Eternia. So they have to go to Subternia, which is hell, and they have to go to Preternia, which is like heaven, or like I said before, Valhalla. And then they have to, forge the sword together. So they have to find someone that can forge the sword. And in the meantime, when I'm going to look for this specific person, they run into him, trying to get a little bit of magic from a well, whatever. And this whole big thing happens, and there's a big fight scene. Everyone's fighting, and you find out that it's Duncan. It's Man at Arms, and he's got to bring the magic. And you know what? He brings it to Orko, who's dying, and they help Orko, and they take Orko, and they send Man at Arms, who, Man at Arms and Teela are still at odds with each other, and he didn't want to come and help them because he was kicked out, and he's like, I don't want to, go against King Randor's words and whatever nonsense. Why wouldn't you want to try to save the world? Well, he comes, he helps out a little bit, then he goes and takes care of the sorceress. But Roboto has all the memories and knowledge of Man at Arms, so he has the knowledge that is needed to reforge the power sword. So Roboto goes with him, voiced by Justin Long. Still don't understand how I didn't know that. And they go. They go to they go to Merman. They get in a fight with Merman, who forces him to show them the way to Subeternia or Subternia, and they go and basically go through hell, and they get in a fight with Scareglow, and they face their fears, and they're split into three groups, which is Evelyn and Orko, that was a really cool where they have to fight this big monster, and they the fear of losing magic and whatever. That was really cool. The other three characters, which was Beastman, Roboto, and Andra, had to work together fighting a bunch of zombies. And then finally, Teela versus Scareglow, and Scareglow was like, I need to know your fear, whatever, I'll give you the sword for your fear. And is this big evil He-Man. And that's what I think is, I've seen a lot of people talk about, why would she be afraid of He-Man? Like, what does that mean? That's a scapegoat. That's just stupid. I think that Teela must have always feared what would happen if He-Man turned against them. And like, this is before like her knowing that it's Adam, but like that could have been her underlying fears. Like, what happens? Like, we can't take on He-Man. What if He-Man one day decides that isn't aligned with us? Or what are we gonna do without He-Man? What if someone takes on the power of He-Man and turns it against us? That's all my theory, but that's that could be it. That could be the thought process there. I thought it was cool. I thought the whole thing was cool. I thought that the cop out at the end of that scene was a little like, see, like, I wish there would have been some more like action-packed solution. But it ends the way it ends, and whatever, she gets the sword, and they're being chased by Scareglow, and they all meet up together, and they get to this door that's gonna lead them to Preternia. But in order to stop Scareglow from stopping them, Orko, who has a little bit more magic now that they're they're in Subternia, takes on Scareglow and stops them, sacrifices himself basically. As far as we know, we do not know if Orko's gone for good. We just know that he got stuck in Subternia, so he could still be alive. But they get into Preternia and they're mourning him, and Adam shows up, Prince Adam. So basically, these heroes of Grayskull, when they die, are offered a spot in this Valhalla as humans, where they can exist and coexist and run around and have fun for the rest of forever. While other people are buried and become the soil and the plants and such of this area and of Eternia. You get to see, like I said, Grayskull and Wondor and Hero, and there's another sorceress that doesn't speak English. That was really cool, and Teela isn't about it. She's mad at Adam for lying. The coolest thing here is that all these people chose to exist for the rest of eternity in their hero forms. Prince Adam chose his regular Prince Adam form, and you could only get into all the reasons why. Maybe he was unsatisfied with how he ended it. He didn't get to tell his family. He lived in secret and this and that, and God only knows what his reasoning was. But that was cool that he was the only one that did that. I thought that was really cool and really different. And I thought that the beef between him and Tila was stupid, but made sense, but could have been done better. From like acting and detail standpoint, I still thought that the plot of it made sense. I just think it could have been realized a little bit differently. Um, and then Hero and Roboto and all of them are able to turn this big chamber into this giant forge in order to reforge the power sword. And Roboto basically has to sacrifice himself, being the conduit for all this power. That sucks. Watching the Roboto die was really sad. Especially because he calls Teela's sister. That was like really emotional. And then so Adam chooses to go back to Eternia, but in doing so, forever gives up his spot to come back to pre-Eternia as a hero. So they get back, whatever, and they raise the power sword, and they do it. They bring the magic back to Eternia, right? Episode 5, they're bringing the magic back. The triangle prison thing is closing, and the magic's going in, and it's powering the whole planet. And he screams, "Oh, I have the power of Grayskull," and the sword's doing its thing, and then the biggest twist I did not see coming at all. I thought all this worked. 5 episodes, they kill He-Man, they go and they bring him back. He's back. We're going to get him, whatever. It's going to be a sick second half of the story. Havoc staff right through him. Skeletor was hiding in Evil Lynn's magic staff the entire time since he was defeated, with He-Man absorbing it. Everyone thought they both died. He had submerged himself inside and stayed hidden because he was weak and hurt from it. So he waited and built up his power, and he waited and he waited and waited, and he came out and he kills He-Man and he grabs the power sword. And he claims the power. That shit really, I didn't see coming. Do I think it's the thing that should have happened? I don't know. Am I mad at it? Again, I don't really know. Is it cool? It's pretty cool. It's different. Would I have ever thought that a 5-episode half a season would kill Prince Adam twice? No, not at all. Not at all. And now that he's not able to come back, like, is he gonna be in Subternia? Like, are we gonna go back and we're gonna pull him and Orko out? That opens for that. They can bring, maybe Hero comes to Eternia to help. Someone else gets the sword. Maybe we get some time traveling and we get He-Man's son, Hero 2. Who knows? There's so many possibilities. This is a brand new storyline. It doesn't have to tie into any of the existing future storylines or the pre-existing storylines. It's brand new content. There's 5 more episodes of this season. I can't wait to see what direction they go and how they pull this off. I really don't agree with a lot of hate that this show and Kevin Smith is getting. People, calling them liars and stuff. Plenty of people lie and whatever. This is why I don't pay attention to anything. I don't even want to watch half of the trailers. I watch the trailer, but I just pay attention to like the specific elements that I'm looking for, and then I get out of it. You can't trust it too much. It is what it is. It's his choice. It's his storyline. He's the creator. If you don't like it, you don't gotta watch it. If you want to watch it, you watch it. If you don't like it, whatever. It existed. Could it get better? It could get a lot better. Do I think it's bad? No, not necessarily. I think this is pretty good. this is definitely like a middle ground kind of thing. I like it. I'm okay with it, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Um, and yeah, so that's it. That was the first 5 episodes, 25 minutes each. What, like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours? Uh, Definitely an easy watch. It's on Netflix. Do I trust Kevin Smith to finish this off with something crazy? Yeah, I do. Um, the next issue of the Black Horse comic series he's writing about this show comes out this Wednesday. So we'll see what he does with that. I wish we would have gotten 2 issues before the show came out, but whatever. This is the second issue. We'll see how that ties into this. Hopefully, it gives us some loophole into the next season, the next half. Um, yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with this. All right, so we're gonna rank it. We're gonna give it a rating. It's 5 episodes out of 10. So for we're gonna give it a half season rating of out of 10. We'll say a 7, a solid 7. It definitely needs work to hit that 8.5, 9 that I want to give it, but character design, animation, music, all that stuff is perfect. The background characters are perfect. Story's definitely different and new and interesting, and I like that, and I was okay with it. Um, I do agree with some things were a little corny, like and I guess that's primarily when you focus it about around 3 females, you're gonna get a little corny. But I had no problem with the female characters. I thought Andrew was a cool new character. Um, I wish there was something more interesting about her. And, Tila's this badass human warrior, right? We've always known that she's badass. She's even more badass now. Uh, Emotionally, does she have some problems? Yeah, I think she has some emotional issues that I didn't like how they were uh, characterized here. Evelyn, badass sorceress, magician, whatever you want to call her. Um, she super powerful. You got so much character development with her. That was really cool. Um, and then you get another human. So like you already have the human badass female. So I wish they give Andrew a little bit more development. Maybe I wish they would have, and I wish they continue to. She gets some kind of gimmick, like Clamp Champ or Fisto, like some kind of crazy weapon or gimmick or power, or she gets turned into something, or she was something this whole time. I really hope that they do something with that character that puts it at the next level, because that's the newest character in this whole series. I don't know Andra. I don't think there's ever been an Andra. I hope they do something that is memorable and leaves that. So I'm like, oh shit, like Relevation, they gave us Andra. Like, come on. I hope it gets to that point. Uh, but yeah, all those aspects of the show are great. I think it's just some of the hiccups with the story at this point, and the fact where I think it's cool that He-Man died twice. Like that's super risky, like story writing, and like that's so cool to see someone have the balls to do that. But now what? I love it. I think this show is awesome, and I can't wait to see the rest of this season, because I think the season is going to be as a whole going to be awesome. First half, parts of it were overwhelming, parts of it were underwhelming. You know, there was some middle ground too. It was a solid show. I was entertained the entire time. I have no major gripes about my experience with it. I just hope that they continue on this forward trend and they just wrap it up nice and tight, and they give us a solid package that can be consumed and enjoyed in the future instead of being ripped apart for its flaws that it started off with. So yeah, that's it. That was this is the Vinyl Casket. This is our review of Masters of the Universe Relevations. It is a Netflix original animation. It is on Netflix. It is directed and written by Kevin Smith with a connected prequel Dark Horse published comic book of the same name. Issue 2 comes out this Wednesday. You can pick that up at your local comic book store. And boom. You can make sure, guys, to like and comment on this video and subscribe on YouTube at The Vinyl Casket. Also, follow on Instagram at Vinyl Casket and Vinyl Casket Comics. I am going crazy at Vinyl Casket Comics. I'm posting tons of stuff. Right now, it's all kind of modern. I'm definitely going to go back and start posting some of my older stuff. Eventually, when I run out on the buses and whatever I have left in trade paperbacks will make it on here. Yeah, with that being said, please follow and subscribe on Twitch. Tune in. I'll probably go live later on. I might, what time is it? Yeah, I might be back on doing something later, but go through the YouTube channel, go through the VODs on Twitch. Check out 1 month later on YouTube. And Manny Reads Comics on YouTube for all his reviews that he's doing with all these different creators. Thank you. And remember, this is the home of the lamest tastes. So stay lame.